Well, hello and welcome back if you're a returning viewer. Welcome along if you're a new viewer. Today's video is about this, as you can see, the fantastic, brilliant, I can't find enough superlatives to describe it, Honda Hornet 1000 SP. So what I'm going to do in terms of the format of this particular video, I'll just take you through my initial observations, both positive and some that are a little bit negative, which may surprise you. But anyway, without further ado, let's get into the video, shall we? Now, the first positive observation is about the engine. As we all know, it's a Fireblade derived engine, the 2017 Fireblade. The bike is putting out 155 horsepower and I think it's 107 newton meters of torque. So it's got fantastic torque and amazing horsepower. You're not going to need more horsepower than that on the road. Certainly I don't. But it's not just the fact that it's an extremely powerful, racy sort of engine. It's just how easy that engine is to ride. It's so flexible. It will pootle along. It will be docile when you want it to be docile through town and when you just basically want to take it easy. But it can be a raging bull of a bike when you want to really let the thing go. I haven't been able to give it its full head so far. I've been trying to keep it to about 5,000, 6,000 RPM. And it's due its running in service fairly shortly. But you can already feel the bike wants to go. It is sporty, it's aggressive, as I say, when you want it to be, but it's got that thing, it really wants to go. And when it hits 5,700 RPM, that exhaust valve opens that you get on the SP, and the thing really snarls and it really does want to go. It's really raw. It's fantastic. It's just what you want from this type of bike. It's a real sports road bike. So here we are in town going through some traffic, and the bike, like all Hondas, it's beautifully balanced and very easy to ride in the urban environment. You know, there's no hunting, surging. We're in the road setting. Probably if you're in sport setting it might be a little bit more lumpy, but it's very civilized and easy to ride in this sort of environment. So that's a big tick in terms of the bike's versatility as far as I'm concerned, because nothing annoys me more than badly fueled and badly mapped bikes when it's lurching and such like. I mean, I had a period where I had a lot of BMWs, and I found the BMW's S1000 XR in particular was really awful in terms of its mapping in town. Great when you're on the accelerator, when you're really going for it, when you're giving it the full throttle, fantastic. But riding in this sort of situation, it was awful. But this bike, top marks. Now, that's the first time I've hit a false neutral. One of the other things that's instantly noticeable is how light the clutch is, and it doesn't have span adjustable levers, but the reach for me, and I've not got massive hands, the reach for me is really easy. And as I say, it's light but not too light. It's got lots of feel, and engaging first is very easy. Engaging neutral again is easy. I've had a couple of occasions where I've been shifting on the move from first up to second, and I've not been positive enough, and it's found itself into neutral. I found neutral. But now allied to the clutch is this really nice gearbox. It's a really slick gearbox, probably not as slick yet as my Triumph Trident, but I think as the bike loosens up that will improve. The quick shifter is pretty good. It's an up and down quick shifter, and as I say, that's the standard item on the SP. It's an extra, and it's quite a costly extra if you want to add it to the standard model. And to me, it's really good. And as I say, it's a little bit notchy, but it is good. And I think it's probably something, as I say, allied to the improvement in the gearbox as the bike wears in, that will improve. As I say, it's not quite on the level of the Triumph quick shifter at this stage, but I'm sure it will improve and get up to that level eventually. The brakes feel really good. We've got Brembo style levers, as we mentioned before, and the feel and power that you're getting through these is very good. I suppose the only disappointment is that we've got standard rubber brake lines as opposed to metal braided lines, which would have been better, which would have improved it. But certainly initially, while they're new, these rubber lines feel fine, and the overall performance of the brakes feels very good indeed. It's worth noting that at the back they've only fitted, I think it's a 250mm, if it's more than that I'll put it up on the screen, but a 250mm disc, and it's only a single piston caliper there on the back. I guess the idea is that it's basically there to steady the bike rather than for outright power, and all your braking should be done through the front as per most sports bikes. Now for me, another plus on this bike, and again it's something you notice as soon as you sit on the bike, is it's really excellent ergonomics. The riding position for me at 5'8", fairly average build, I find the riding position excellent. It's not too much of a stretch to the bars. The seat height is excellent. It's a very accessible 8 or 9. And for me, with short legs, that's one of the things that I really look for. Weight-wise, it's 212 kilos fully fueled up, which actually is pretty good. But it certainly doesn't feel as heavy as that. Once you're actually on the move, I know it's a bit of a cliche, but once you're actually on the move, the bike feels really light and it's really eager to turn in. And we'll talk about the handling shortly. But as I say, the ergonomics for me are spot on. Okay, so let's talk about the comfort and the riding position. Well, let's start with the real positive. The riding position is excellent. The reach to the bars isn't too excessive. Got a slight bend in my arms. I'm sort of average length arms, I think, really. And you know, I'm sat upright, but I'm not right bolt upright, which is, you know, a lot of people think is something that's good, but actually it's not, is it? You don't want to be sat like a copper because you're putting all the weight straight through your backside and through your bones. Whereas leaning forward just a little bit, oh god, the road's closed. Okay, so let's do a U-E. That was easy. So as we were saying there, the riding position itself is great. The leg position, it's not too cramped. I've got relatively short legs, but I would say even if you've got slightly longer legs, you know, a 32, 33 inside leg, I still think you'll be fine. It's quite sporty, as you'd expect from this bike, but it's not excessive. As I say, it's quite comfortable. The thing that lets it down is the seat. The seat is rock hard, it has to be said. I've done a couple of 100-mile rides on this bike so far, where I've been in the saddle 100 mile plus, and I have to say, by the time I got back, I was desperate to get off this bike. It is, as I say, it's rock hard. This is not a motorway bike. It's not the sort of bike you would want to sit on the motorway for hours on end. You'd be screaming in agony, I think, by the end of it. If you're moving around on the bike and you're throwing it about on a sporty ride, you probably wouldn't notice. You probably think it was great. But as I say, for touring, no, the bike isn't versatile enough for touring, in my opinion. So the bike is still on standard suspension settings. I haven't fiddled with it yet, although I will have a play with it probably after the first service, where we're able to explore the limits of the bike a little bit more. But what I have to say is that it's set up very firmly. It's very much on the firm, sporty side. So if you're thinking this is going to be a sports tourer, if you're thinking you're going to buy it and go touring on it, well, if you're young and firm buttocks, then you can probably get away with it. But if you're my age, a more senior rider, shall we say, then I think you'd find it very hard. Rev it! How's that then? Oh god, you've got to perform for the kids, haven't you? Let's be honest. As I was saying, the suspension set up very much on the firm, sporty side. When you're going for it and you hit a bump, it does retain its composure really well. That's the quality of the all-in shock shining through. And the roads are still quite mucky, as you can see, quite dusty. So with that in mind, we'll just try and have a quick look-see at the handling. So this is fairly fast sweeper, 6th gear, 66 miles an hour. No, she's really stable, really stable. I mean, there's loads more to go, obviously. As I say, the suspension feels really nice and compliant. You can feel what's going on underneath you on the road. You know, you've got good feedback from the front, and again, the rear feels, as you'd expect with it being an Öhlins, the rear feels really well damped and really controlled. It's firm, but actually when you start moving on a little bit quicker and you've got a reasonable surface road like we have here, it's absolutely fantastic. Gets a little bit jiggly over rougher surfaces, but as I say, on a decent road like this one, it's absolutely fantastic, really good. So top marks for the suspension. Okay, so we come up some undulating roads, a little bit of muck on the road, got to be quite careful. We come up some undulating roads and some dips in it, and then some really tight turns. So let's just see how she handles it. Handled that little crest on that bridge fantastically. There we go, get round that. Okay. Quite a broken surface, as you can see, a bit worn. So it'll be interesting to see how these S22 tyres cope. They're not too bad at the moment. Yeah, she does move around a little bit. It's definitely a sports bike. It's very lively. This is quite a tight right-hander. A bit dirty again, as I say, not a lot of grip. But she turns in really neatly, and as I say, allied to that stability, Honda have pulled off a really great trick. They've got a really nice, fast-handling bike, great suspension, and fantastic stability. Again, you know, if you'd paid twice the amount that you pay for it, £10,000, you'd still think it was pretty good. You wouldn't feel shortchanged at all. And I say, in terms of value for money and performance, it's an unbeatable package. The things that I really like on good switchgear for me is things like this, the mode button. It's very simple to use. It's push. You haven't got to go through the menu to change the riding mode. It's there, you can push it and navigate your way through. The toggle switch, again, is very easy. It's very easy to use. It's not complicated. And the TFT itself, we'll have a look at that in a second, is very intuitive. As I say, there is a little bit of a learning curve in terms of finding the indicator button, but it's very nice and easy to use. You've got your flash there. And here, I've had heated grips fitted. It was a £377 extra, but to me, living in the UK, it's something that you should have. So these are Honda grips. They're 5-stage in terms of heat. I have to say, I've been out on some pretty cold days so far, and they're very good, very easy to use. And again, it's a one-touch on there, and you can see what setting you're on by going into the menu on the TFT. But again, you navigate up and down the heated grips just by pressing the button. Couldn't be simpler. So we've now had a quick look at the switchgear. Let's have a look at the TFT in a little bit more detail, and I thought the best way to do that would be to show you the film that I took when I had the bike handed over to me by Keely at Vertu Honda in Grantham, and she did a very good explanation of the TFT and its functionality. So let's go and have a look at that, shall we? Let's have a look. Yeah.
So you go into the main settings.
Yeah.
Sorry, over one, down
Okay.
to the settings.
Yeah.
Riding mode.
Yeah.
So user 1 and user 2. So
Yeah.
user 1,
Yeah.
that's your power output, engine braking, traction control. Turn it off.
Right.
When you come back out, on the main screen at the side you'll see the traction.
Where does it say? Sorry, where does it say no traction?
User 1, no traction.
Ah, right. Okay.
Okay. Pop it back into
Settings.
user 1.
Yeah.
Riding mode, user 1.
Yeah.
I'll turn it back on for you.
Okay.
Okay, and then the light.
So what do you do? Do you press it up? Do you knock it up?
Yeah. So up,
yeah.
down.
Okay.
Like a giant Game Boy.
Yeah. Cool. Okay.
but you can change absolutely everything. So
Yeah.
user 1 is similar to,
And that is user 2, yeah?
that is the present mode, which
Oh,
is
right.
standard.
Oh, okay.
This one is user
That's
2.
your customisable. Okay.
Yeah, so 1 and 2 are customizable.
So does it always go back to standard as standard every time you turn the ignition on and off? Or
I believe it leaves it in
it
whatever
leaves
you
it
want.
whatever you've
Yeah.
set it in last? Okay, yeah.
So standard. I'll show you what's on sport.
Yeah.
Riding mode. So that's sport. So the power output is bigger, engine braking's lower, traction's lower.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Rain, traction's higher.
Yeah.
Engine brake is middle,
Yeah.
power's lower.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
You can change the quick shifter, so
Yeah.
whether you want hard, medium or soft
Yeah.
lift. Display, you can change the display type.
Yeah.
So whether you want a bar, a circle or simple with no
Yeah.
bars or
Yeah. Yeah.
background, you can
Yeah.
have auto, so you can
Yeah.
have it as, if you go under a bridge, it will
Yeah.
go to black rather
Yeah.
than stark white.
Yeah.
Or you can have it as fixed black or fixed white. Okay. General, date and time, language, Bluetooth pairing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can
Yeah.
reset trip A and B. So 0 mile.
Yeah.
Trip A,
Yeah.
you press and hold, it will reset.
Yeah. Yeah. Standard stuff, isn't it? Yeah.
Same with B.
Yeah.
Okay. Fuel, you got the fuel bar
Yeah.
and fuel range. Grips,
Yeah.
and you can choose how hot you want them.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. So how many settings do we have? 5. Okay.
it
Brilliant.
starts at the hottest first,
And
and you press the button, and it goes 4, 3, 2,
cool.
1.
Yeah.
So how to use the switch gear?
Yeah.
You've got your full beam on the trigger at
Yeah.
the back,
Yeah.
and passing light there.
Right.
Horn, indicator's always underneath the horn on a Honda.
Yeah.
Push to cancel.
Yeah.
You got your kill switch, your starter, and your hazards, which are rolling like an indicator.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you for that, Keely. Really informative. Thanks for that. Really good. So, are there any downsides so far that I've noticed? Well, yes, there are a few. For me, one of the few reasons for choosing the standard bike over the SP is the lack of choice in colours. You've got a really nice racing red on the standard bike, and you've got that silver, which is a bit meh, I think, and you've got the white, the pearl white. And this does look good, it does look distinctive, but the problem with this satin matting finish is that it does mark up quite easily. Now, the other thing I've been slightly disappointed about is the economy of the bike. Now, bear in mind that I've been riding around at running in speed, so I've not been thrashing the bike, nowhere near thrashing the bike. And it's only delivering mid to low 40s to the gallon. I'll show you on the screen. When I filled up earlier, it was showing a range of 178 miles. To be honest, I think 178 miles from a tank full is going to be very optimistic indeed. Now, the other thing that could be a little bit of a concern is the positioning of the regulator rectifier. It's down there, just let me show you. So if you can see on the B-roll there, the rectifier, it's quite exposed, as indeed is the shock, although I must say the shock has kept pretty clean thus far. But as I say, it's something to watch whether or not that will be a problem in the long term. Okay, so after 250 miles of riding on the Hornet SP, what are my initial conclusions, initial thoughts and observations? Well, overall, overwhelmingly positive. I think the bike is superb. Functionally, it's excellent, and I think it looks absolutely gorgeous. I just put up the photos now of the bike when it was detailed yesterday at CF Coatings in Retford. They did an absolutely amazing job. It looks superb, and it will protect it as well. But as you see, the bike is gorgeous. It looks fantastic, and as I say, functionally, I've only done 250 miles so far, but it's fantastic. Everything is now starting to bed in, and the bike is just so nice to ride. I'm really excited to ride it. Every time I open the garage door and look at it, I just want to get out and ride it. And now we've got some fantastic weather for a change, and it's a day when you can actually go out and enjoy riding the bike and get some miles on it, so we can get it in for its first service and then really unleash the bike. But as I say, overwhelmingly positive. A couple of those minor gripes and niggles, but I think that's all they're going to be, gripes and niggles. I think the bike is for the money, £9,999. Repeat that, less than 10k on the road. This bike is amazing value, and it's that headline price, I think, that really grabs the attention initially. But if you look at the spec and the way the bike performs, you know, it's not built down to a price as such, in so much as it's detrimental to the bike's performance. Far from it. Honda have absolutely played a blinder on this bike. They're disrupting the market in a big way, and it'll be interesting to see how the other manufacturers respond to this, because they're going to have to respond, because who's going to want to buy anything else when you've got this for this sort of money? As I say, they've done an amazing job. So there you are. I'll be bringing you a further review, a more comprehensive review, in a month or so's time, when I've got some more miles on it and be able to use it a little bit harder. And so if you're really interested in that, and I'm sure you will be, make sure you subscribe, and then you won't miss it, because I think it's going to be really interesting. And my advice, by the way, if you're interested in the Hornet, get down to your local Honda dealer and stick a deposit down on one. I don't think there are any left for sale now in the UK. I think they've all been sold, all been allocated on this particular batch that's come into the country. So get in there now and get one ordered, because if you don't, you're going to miss the best of the summer, because I can guarantee you will not be disappointed with this bike. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed this video and this content. If you have, please hit that like button. It's really important for the algorithm that you do. And if you're not already a subscriber, can I implore you, to quote username Kate, can I implore you to hit that subscribe button? The channel is growing, but we really do need more subscribers. And there's no cost to you, and you get to see all this content as soon as it comes out without having to go hunting for it. So it's a real positive. So, okay, I've been Alan. Until the next time, please remember, keep it shiny side up. And until the next time, bye for now. Okay then, see ya.